When people inquire about how I organize our finances so well, this is what I tell them. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 10 tangible, tactile, actionable steps that I share with people on a regular basis when they inquire about personal finance, money management, financial organization, all of those types of things. And I do want to preface this video by saying that I feel as though one can be in control of their finances and manage their money and organize their finances and all of that stuff without actually moving forward with hitting some big goal. Meaning you can have organized finances and manage your money relatively well without having huge plans of investing a bunch of money or saving a bunch of money or paying off a bunch of debt. I just feel like financial organization and money management is attainable for many of us. But I will say there probably are people out there who this video is not for. Well, I can't really tell you who this video is not for, but I can tell you who this video is for. And this video is for the people who have no real control over their finances, even though they actually do earn enough money to be able to afford their basic living expenses and meet their basic needs, but also probably are able to meet some of their wants as well. So the people out there who do have enough money to live comfortably, but maybe they have poor spending habits, or maybe they have no control over their finances, or they don't know when this bill is due and how much this is, and so they're just kind of all over the place and not really in control of their finances. That is who this video is specifically being created for. So if you're starting from scratch, the first tip is to identify your annual or monthly income. If you are salaried, you probably know how much your paychecks are going to be each time that you get paid. If you are hourly, you may not know specifically because maybe there are times where you are working overtime or working more than the amount of hours that you're actually signed up to work, but you probably know what your base pay is, and you certainly know what your hourly rate is when you are working non-overtime hours. And so I would work really hard to try to figure out what that annual amount is and what that monthly amount is. And this may seem kind of basic, but I know plenty of people who don't really have any real clue about how much money they're bringing in, especially when it comes to those folks who are hourly. And so I'm recommending doing that first and foremost, because if you know how much money you're bringing in, that will help to guide you on how much money you can spend and save. If you don't know how much money you are bringing in, financial management you're going to be a long way away from effective money and financial management. The next tip is to set up direct deposit for your income. Again, another one of those no-brainer types of things, but it really is important to set up direct deposit for your income. Gone are the days of having to rely on checks and going to the bank to cash the checks. Obviously, some jobs still do offer checks in that way, paper checks for you to cash. But if you can set up direct deposit, set up the direct deposit, because just hear me out. Like, unless you're doing illegal things with your money, just hear me out. How much easier is it going to be to eliminate the bank runs and the depositing and the withdrawing money and all of that whenever you can just put your money in a bank account? That doesn't sit well with some people. Some people are cash spenders. Some people just like holding on to their cash and they don't trust banks and all of that. But for those of you who do, set up direct deposit for all of your income. The next tip is to identify your monthly bills and your non-monthly bills and get familiar with them. If you quiz me at any moment on how much our monthly bills are, when they're due, how they're paid, which bank account they come out of, if you quiz me on how much our semi-annual bills are, or our quarterly bills, or our annual bills, I would be able to give you all of the information that you are asking of me, because I just have a good idea of when our bills are due, what our bills are, all of that. I know all of the nitty-gritty details regarding our bills, and that is on purpose. This makes me feel like I am in control of my money. When I know when bills are going to be taken from my account, when I know when I have to pay bills, when I know how much the bills are, how many bills that I actually have, I feel in control of my money. I feel organized with my money. My next tip is to organize paydays in a calendar. Doesn't matter if it's the calendar app that comes with your phone, doesn't matter if it's Google Calendar, doesn't matter if it's a calendar printout, doesn't matter if it's a planner, doesn't matter what it is. Organize your paydays. Write down when all of your paydays are going to be and be intentional about those, because sometimes some people get paid on the 1st and the 15th, but not on holidays. So maybe they get paid a day or two ahead of time because of the holidays. Or some people like me work for the public school system and we get 3 paydays in December because of the district that I'm in. And so that means that each January we only get 1 paycheck. And so I have to be mindful of those types of things. So write down, plan out all of your paydays, because that will be helpful for tip number 5, which is organizing all of your bills. Same thing applies. Doesn't matter if it's a Google Calendar, a printout that you put on your refrigerator of a monthly calendar. Doesn't matter if it's a planner. Doesn't matter where it is. Organize your monthly bills. Not only those, organize your quarterly bills, your semi-annual bills, your annual bills. Organize all of the bills that you are anticipating paying for the foreseeable future. And this is important too, because keep in mind that if you want to change around your bill due date, you are certainly able to do that. I do this all the time. Sometimes bills being due on certain days just doesn't sit right with my spirit, doesn't sit right with our pay calendar, pay schedule. So therefore I will go ahead and I will request through the company that my due date be changed. Sometimes this isn't just a walk in the park and you can call up and just pick some random date that you want your bill to be due. Sometimes you might only be able to move it a couple days past its current due date or a couple days ahead, previous to the current due date. So you can't just have free reign on this, but you can try to schedule out when these due dates are falling for your bills so that you can make sure that the way that they are being paid is kind of even in relation to when you are actually being paid. So if you get paid on the 1st and the 15th, but you have way more bills due between the 1st and the 15th than you do the 15th and the 30th, you can try to adjust that so that it's not so top heavy, and you can try to distribute some of those bill due dates by contacting the companies and trying to move those due dates so it's not as stressful. Because some people like paying all of their bills with 1 paycheck and then having the other paycheck for play money or groceries or those types of things, more of that discretionary spending or variable spending. But that's not for me. I like things to be pretty even, and so I all the time am trying to change around my due dates just because it just feels better. And I feel like that's what a part of financial management is, making sure that how you're managing your money feels good. My next tip is to set up auto pay for bills. And I know what some of you are thinking, that is crazy, but it's not crazy. I've been doing it for well over 10 years. I've done it for as long as I have had a job, for as long as I've had money, and my first job paid minimum wage. But I always did this because to me, it's a no-brainer. Why, if I already have to pay the bill anyway, why not set it up for auto pay so that I don't have to manually go in and pay the bill? Not only do I not have to manually go in and pay the bill, if I actually forget or if there's an error as far as me manually going in and paying it on time, it doesn't matter because it's going to be deducted automatically and I'm not even really going to have to think about it. So long as I've organized my finances using all of these other tips, that is going to be the least of my concern. My bills auto drafting from my account is going to be the least of my concern. I do realize it's a little scary though, so start small. Maybe do a couple of bills, then add some more bills, then add some more bills, but I promise you it makes life so much easier. And the only thing that you will have to do if you do this is the next tip, which is to check your account balances daily. I'm talking your checking accounts, your saving accounts, your credit card accounts, wherever you're spending money or you're expecting money to be spent or deposited, check in with those accounts on a daily basis. I actually check our main account twice per day. Sometimes I check our credit card account a couple times per day, and by twice per day, I mean at the beginning of the day, at the top of the day, and then at the end of the day. But I'm checking in and I'm seeing, oh look, internet came out, great, cool. Wonderful, got it. Because I get email notifications about how much the bills are going to be. And of course I can access all of these accounts anyway to see how much the monthly bill is going to be for whatever it is. So I can see ahead of time how much is supposed to be auto draft it. And then I just wait for it to happen, check behind, make sure it did happen, and then I move on with my life. My next tip is to review bills and subscriptions on a regular basis. Sometimes we have subscriptions that we're not supposed to be paying for because we forgot to cancel them. That's money being taken from our accounts that could have been better left in our accounts. Sometimes we are paying for subscriptions that we're not using. We need to get rid of those subscriptions because money wasted. Sometimes we are paying bills that we shouldn't be paying because we don't even use cable. We don't even watch TV. So why are we paying for cable? Sometimes we have those types of situations. And then sometimes we're paying a certain amount for a bill and we're accustomed to paying for that amount. So we don't really do any research to make sure that the amount that we're paying is the best or is the best value. I think cable is actually a perfect example. You might be paying a cable company $100 a month, even though you only watch Lifetime, when in all actuality, you could probably stand to get Sling TV, which is $40 a month for one of their plans that includes Lifetime, which is the only channel that you use. And so you probably could be paying Sling TV or some other type of company instead of paying this other company way more money that really isn't necessary. My next tip is to set up autodraft for saving and investing and paying down debt. I mentioned this earlier, but sometimes money management doesn't necessarily mean saving a bunch of money, putting a bunch of money towards debt, or investing a bunch of money. But if that is what your aim is, and if that is something that is in alignment with your financial goals, then I say go ahead and set up that as well. If you're saving for sinking funds, if you're saving for a house, if you're saving for a wedding, if you're saving for a car, if you're trying to pay off a car, if you're trying to pay off a certain debt, you can go ahead and set up auto draft for those as well. If you learn that you're gonna have $250 left over from each paycheck and you want to save some money, go ahead and set up a $250 auto withdrawal every payday so that you can go ahead and get that savings automated. Hear me out. There's a common theme here, which is the more that you can set up to do automatically instead of having to do it manually, the easier money management is, the less stressful money management is. A lot of people say that having more money would solve a lot of their problems, and I couldn't agree more, but I also think that having a good grasp of one's current financial situation also lends itself to less stress, less anxiety, less overwhelm. When you're in control of your finances are not controlling you. Thus, you are able to exist in a world that is not as stressful, is not as worrisome, is not as anxiety provoking. And my last tip is to review your credit report. None of these were actually in any real order, so you can do any of them in whatever order you see fit. But I do feel like reviewing your credit report periodically really is helpful. As for me, I review my credit score periodically, not because I'm out here doing anything that really requires me to use a credit score, truth be told, but because I like to see it, because it determines if my credit score goes up, then there probably was a contributing factor for that. If it goes down, there's a contributing factor for that. And so it just kind of helps to guide me as I'm trying to navigate managing my finances, our finances, in an effective way. The credit report can show your liabilities, your assets, who you owe, what's in collections. It can show all of that. And if you are, once you do get in a place where you are trying to pay off debt or increase your credit score or increase your net worth, those types of things, then that credit report is going to be a guiding factor in all of this. So I know that a lot of these tips are probably seem like no-brainers to a lot of people, but I get so many questions about actual steps that people can take to get a better sense of their finances. And I feel like these are the key components. I can talk all day long about ways to invest and how to invest and ways to save and how to save and ways to invest and ways to pay off debt and how to pay off debt. But I feel like, again, all of that is going to come naturally. All of that is going to be way easier. That's going to be something that just comes naturally when you are organizing your finances and when you are in control of your money. And believe it or not, some of these tips that I've shared are steps that some folks have not taken in a long time or have not taken ever to try to get a better grasp of their finances and implement a more organizational system when it comes to finances. Now, I also am a person who believes in an organizational system. I come alive when things are organized. I just feel like when things are organized, I can think about things less, I worry less, I have less stress, less anxiety. I exist in a world that is more rewarding, to be honest. And so these are the tips that I recommend, and these are the steps that we take, the tangible, tactile steps that we take each and every month to make sure that we are in control of our finances. So I hope that you guys found this video to be helpful. If you did, give this video a like, subscribe if you're new and if you're liking what you're seeing, and I will catch you guys right back here in a few days in a brand new video. Bye guys.